Good afternoon on what is a mild, bright and sunny day. It is Sunday, the 17th of March, St Patrick's Day, and I'm in the reading Nook with a nice hot cup of tea. And a box to continue unboxing. And what I'm going to pull out of here is a copy of this, which is This Sceptred Isle, 55 BC to 1901, from the Roman invasion to the death of Queen Victoria, by Christopher Lee, who was a BBC correspondent for many years, and then went on to become a writer and historian, in particular writing in general about history and also espionage matters and Russia, I believe. So this totally absorbing history of Britain begins with the Roman invasion in 55 BC and ends with Queen Victoria's death in 1901. Written to accompany the award-winning BBC Radio 4 series, This Sceptred Isle brings to life the events and personalities that have shaped our nation. Tales of wars, bloodshed, murder and revenge, and of the tremendous social changes that the peoples of these islands have witnessed over the centuries. Skillfully weaving his text from accounts from contemporary chronicles and diaries and extracts from Winston Churchill's A History of the English-Speaking Peoples, Christopher Lee describes the evolution of Britain's greatest institutions, the powers of its kings and queens, and charts its power and political and economic development. Whether you're interested in Britain's past, present or future, This Sceptred Isle is essential reading. So, and you've got a lot of praise for it on the back. So, now, Christopher Lee series, This Sceptred Isle, was a radio series that ran in the early 90s, I think, something like that, made up of 15-minute episodes, which would typically deal with one single year. And which leaves this book with an awful lot of one big problem, because you can't get essentially the 500,000 words or so of that radio series into one book, even one as large as that. So this may well be seen as sort of like a bit of a précis, a short guide rather than anything else. So picking up the highlights and so on. And it's also based upon, the Winston Churchill's History of the English-Speaking People, which I think he won a Nobel Prize for as well. It's basically his big post-World War II project. And that's worth reading, as a piece of history itself. So, introduction and contents, with actually more detailed contents pages, not a mere list breaking down the different chapters. So even then, okay, let's just check. That's the content section. The contents page section all the way down to the index, okay, there we go, runs from page 7 to page 28 of the book. So that's 20 pages just contents. Then we have we've got family trees, historical genealogical trees of the rulers of Britain. All the way down to Queen Victoria. I believe there was a sequel to this as well. And then we get into chapter 1, 55 BC to AD 8448. And essentially we've got these excerpts from Churchill throughout, accompanying the different sections. So there isn't really very much necessarily to look at in here, because it's quite a text-heavy book. Just see if there's anything, there are notes in here as well. In addition, I did see something interesting as I flipped past. But I can't find it now. So there we go. No, I can. So, essentially a cost of living sort of like in 1685. So, is this book any good, or is it worth reading? In some ways, I think it's probably better to just go and find the radio series. It's available on CD. You can track down copies. It sold very well on cassette, as far as I recall. When CDs became mainstream, it was moved on to that. My partners have got that box set. But this is sort of like a good overview of essentially, almost 2,000 years of history in one book. So it's not going to be hugely heavily detailed. there's going to be a lot of movement in terms of people and plot and so on. It's like one big, enormous kind of story, and it's far more of a grand treatment of history, I think, necessarily, than getting down into the dirt and the weeds and so on, which you might get with a more detailed history of, for example, the War of the Roses or the Industrial Revolution. You can devote there's so many subjects in here which you can take and go and find a more detailed and more expansive book upon, if you wish to read further. But essentially, as a primer for the broad swathe of British history over sort of like 2,000 years, then yeah, probably worth a read. Anyway, thanks for watching another unboxing in the Nook. If you enjoyed this, then please do click on the like button down below. And if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be able to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you will see me out here with a box containing a book or game, which I will, in this case a history book, which I will unbox and chat about to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching. Be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.